Hey, and welcome to the replay. My name is DavidSWinston. Thanks for joining me. I like to encourage folks to be successful in life and to become the best version of them possible, to be able to bring them to a place of fulfilling their God-given destiny and plan. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Ebony, what's up? How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing great. I hope you're having a great week. And if not, hopefully that this can serve as a motivation and inspiration to you. I'm going to be talking about how to change your attitude, or really the importance of changing your attitude. And before I get started, did you guys know that there's something that majorly shifted in Periscope this week? And the shift in Periscope took place as, hey everybody, the shift in Periscope took place in which now Periscope videos are embedded into your Twitter feed. And so if you got somebody who's on Periscope and on Twitter and you follow them and you're going through your Twitter feed, you'll see that not only was the tweet sent out that notifies you that they're live, but what's really cool is you actually, Tiffany, you're funny, you can actually see the video live in your Twitter feed. And so this is amazing. This is a breakthrough for Periscopers all over the world, because now you have greater engagement. You can draw more people in. Hello, North Carolina. You can draw more people in to your scopes, and you can draw more people in with the hashtags and with mentioning, if other folks are in your videos also. So make sure to spread that news to somebody else. Now to the topic at hand, your attitude. Sometimes we need an attitude adjustment, and I believe that your attitude determines if something is an obstacle or an opportunity. So, attitude is important. I wanted to hit you with some quick facts first. So the brain, really, really important and very powerful thing, right? It's a very powerful organ. And speaking of which, you have approximately about 70,000 thoughts a day. And although many will be the same thoughts looping around and around, when you have the same thought, it makes a physical pathway in the brain. Like when you have the same thought, there's a groove that's created physically in the brain that makes it easier to have that thought again and again. And what's really cool about it is that as you have that thought again and again, it becomes more predominant in your brain. And so that's why it's really important about what you think. And so you shouldn't think thoughts like, why am I such a failure? Because as you think that thought and have it again and again and again, then that thought actually literally starts to dominate in your brain. And what happens is your brain is wired so great and magnificently that it will try to play out whatever is the most dominant thought inside of there. And so your subconscious or your conscious will try to find ways to sabotage you and help you and assist you in failing. We don't want that. So you got to think the right thoughts. It's actually also said that you have a finite amount of willpower each day, because willpower actually takes energy and oxygen and glucose inside of you to really be able to function at its highest capacity. So that's why it's harder for you to use willpower when you're tired. When you're tired, sometimes it's harder to say no to the things that you should say no to. So you have a finite ability of willpower in the day physically, what they say. I believe that you are unlimited. If that's what you think, then you can push past. But a lot of people, you have a finite ability to have willpower during the day, and I've experienced it. When I get tired, it seems like that willpower to do what I know what to do is right is like less, or to not do what I know is wrong is less. And so it's very important. So I want to hit you with some interesting facts about the brain, and that when you have negative events and you spin them in a positive light, it actually literally rewrites your brain and helps you to become a happier person. And I believe it helps you have an attitude of gratitude. And what erodes willpower? Fatigue. Fatigue can erode willpower. Yes. So when you're tired. And so I believe having attitude of gratitude is really, really important. If you check out my link on my bio, it actually links to a teaching I've done on thankfulness. It's really, really important. But I want to talk to you today about adjusting your attitude. I want to give you a little story. Story time. Give you a little story. So this past Sunday, we actually have foundation classes, biblical foundation for faith classes. And if you don't know me, once again, my name is David Winston. I am a youth pastor and I am a minister of the gospel, but I really, really enjoy encouraging people to become the best version of themselves. And I believe that all of us, God has called all of us to great things, and we have to get better and better each and every day. So if you're joining this scope, or if you joined the scope before and you know who I am, I want you to share right now, share with your friends, family, whoever. You can tweet it out, Facebook post, share with your followers, and invite everybody out to the scope, because I'm doing a lunchtime scope to encourage you. I appreciate that, Tiffany. Thank you. And so your attitude determines your altitude and your perspective in life. So check this out. This is real story, real thoughts. So we had a foundation class graduation. It's an 11-week class in which we take new members of the church, or those who want to join the church, and we kind of teach them, just some basic foundational things about the Bible. Some people call it new members classes, but it's biblical foundations for faith. So check this out. We had one guy who was graduating. My dad asked everybody to come onto the stage and then asked if some people had some testimonies about the great things that came out of the class for them. So this gentleman takes the mic and he starts to talk about how this class impacted him. And oh, you graduated this Sunday. Awesome. Nikki, 4 kids. All right. My wife Nikki has 4 kids too. All right. So you graduated this Sunday. Congratulations. But the guy was talking about how he had a positive attitude and how this class really positively impacted his life. So he starts to tell the story about how he was laid off of his job during the midst of the class. It's maybe 3 months. During the midst of the class, he was laid off of his job. And they called everybody into a room, gave everybody the dismissal, the pink slips, the notification, hey, let your families know, we're sorry about this, but we have to lay everybody off because blah, blah, blah reason. And so they said, you are free to go. If because of this news is kind of sad, disheartening, you have our permission to leave for the day. And I think it was the earlier part of the day, so they said, you can leave. But he determined within himself that he had a job to do, and he was still being paid to do it, and he was just going to do it. He was going to have a good attitude, going to be a man of character and integrity, and nobody would have looked down upon him if he had chosen to go home. In fact, everybody else went home except him. And so he stayed, and management took notice. And they said, hey, we noticed that you stuck around. Yeah, everybody else was free to go, but you chose to stick around. And he said, yeah, that's just what I believe. I believe that this is right. And they say, you know what? We like you. We like your attitude. We like your character. And we've been watching you. We think you would be great for another position that would be almost like, I think he said, almost like a promotion position. And we think you would be great for that position. What do you think? And he got another job, same company, better position. But what led to what led to him getting that opportunity? What was the thing that led to it? It was his good attitude. It was his approach towards a bad situation. It was an approach towards something that looked like an obstacle to everybody else. Like, man, this is terrible. I just got laid off. How am I going to tell my wife that I got fired? What are we going to do? But he chose to do something different. And my encouragement to you today is choose to do something different. Don't have a bad attitude. Be grateful. There's some people that, who are looking for jobs, who can't find jobs. And, some of us, and not me, but there's some people who go to work, they complain about work, they hate the job, they don't like their job, they don't like being there. They're like, I just can't stand this job. When is 5:30 coming? Get me up out of here. And, my response to that is always be thankful you have a job. At any time, I can usually name off about 10 people I know personally, because I get a chance to work with a lot of people who are looking for jobs. Not just teenagers, people with families who are looking for jobs, who just need work. And so, it reminds us to be thankful, to have a positive disposition. And I believe that perspective dictates if this thing is an obstacle or an opportunity. You have 2 men that approach a mountain. And I hope you didn't complain. No, I didn't complain. You have 2 men that approach the mountain, and maybe one says, ooh, here's a mountain. This is terrible. I don't know how we are going to get around this mountain. I don't like mountain climbing. Ugh, man, maybe we can get a vehicle, maybe we can call an Uber to drive us around. And so one man, he sees that mountain as a complete obstacle, and he's like, how are we going to get to our destination? The other man, he sees that obstacle and says, yes, let's climb it. He says, I like mountain climbing. I like going up top. Let's climb this mountain. And it's all about perspective. You know, two men have two different perspectives. And, you know, as the saying goes, that the man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't, they're both right. Because it's just determination of what you think. How are you going to think? Do you think you can or do you think you can't? And I believe that a positive attitude, it always shifts the perspective. It's kind of like flying. Like a lot of you all have probably traveled before. Maybe some of you all have flown before. And as you go in the plane, you take off and you go up. And I always love the part where after you take off, it's like the first several thousand feet, it's like everything changes. It's like I remember just driving past that building right there, and it looks so big and massive, and I could see some of the cracks in the wall, or I can see where some of the paint was peeling. But then I got so high and I couldn't see any of that detail anymore. But I did see how the whole neighborhood was blanketed in snow. I could see that. And because the perspective changed, the way I interpreted the same building, it changed. And I'm here to tell you that when you have a good attitude, you shift your perspective. That's what it's all about, shifting your perspective. And sometimes we don't want to do that. Sometimes, you know, life gets rough. Sometimes we're like, no, we want to complain. We just want to be negative. But let me tell you, when you don't shift that perspective, it locks you in to perceiving these things here as obstacles instead of opportunities. And I believe that the higher you go, the harder it is. You know, as we know, the higher you go, the harder it is to survive because there's less oxygen up there. And as you know, you go in the airplane, there's less oxygen up there. I remember when I had a chance to skydive, and we were up 10,000 feet. And it was hard to breathe up there, and because the air gets thinner and there's less oxygen in the atmosphere. And so the higher you go, the harder it is for things to survive. You know, you see, if you go up mountains, you'll see that some plants can't keep living up there. And I'm here to let you know that not everybody can go to the top. Not everybody can climb every obstacle. But I believe that you can, because it takes a certain amount of strength and grace and fortitude. And I'm here to let you know that even though they might have not been able to survive because of the altitude, the less oxygen, you can survive. You can make it. You can make it over that obstacle. You can make it over that mountain. Whatever you're facing, whatever is in your way, approach it with a good attitude, and it'll help change and shift your perspective and help motivate you. And you know, even the scriptures talk about that in Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It talks about think on these things that are good, true, honorable, noble, praiseworthy, lovely, and of good report. And it says that you will find peace. The peace of God will be with you. And so when you think on those correct things, the peace of God is with you. And I believe that God always is the best indicator, and He's always the knower in how we are designed to function, and what we will do well and what we won't do well, what conditions that we will thrive in and the conditions that we won't thrive in. And He tells us on purpose to think on these specific things, because He knows that when we think on these things, we actually will thrive and will operate in the way that we were actually designed to operate. And so even when everything is crumbling all around you, you have to choose to have a good, positive attitude, no matter what. And hey, I'm not saying it's not going to be challenging, but hey, anything that is worth pursuing in life usually will take some aggressiveness. It'll take a fight. It'll take some push. It'll take you pushing past what you feel like you can't do. And so, you know, my wife, she's really taught me a lot about this principle, because if any of you all know my wife, she is very positive. She is one of the most positive people I've met. And I think within the first several years that I knew her, and, you know, we met and we got married, I was just like, how are you so positive? Not because I was a negative person, but because of my personality. Sometimes it took more work for me to be able to see the good perspective, the good, the positive. And for some of you all, you might have that kind of personality where it might take more work than the person next to you to be able to see the good stuff, the positive, and have a good attitude and make that attitude adjustment. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. And so she's taught me the power of having a good and positive attitude, knowing that everything will work out. And, you know, I mean, she's good at it too. You know, I could drop my shoe in the toilet and be like, dog, my shoe is in the toilet. Can't believe this. And she'll say, well, at least when you take it out, it'll dry and we can wash it and it'll be cleaner than before. And I'll tell her, that is not the point. That's not what I want to hear. I am ready to complain and you need to jump on my bandwagon. And how many times does that happen to us, right? We're complaining, we have bad attitude, and we're looking for somebody else to join us. Jump on the bandwagon, help me complain a little bit. But that's a good wife. She'll help you and encourage you. And I want to encourage you to find somebody who's around you, who you know, to be able to encourage you, to be able to help you have a good attitude even when it's hard to. And so as I leave you, I want to leave you with this story. It's a popular story. It's used with many motivational speakers. I don't consider myself a motivational speaker. I like to talk about the Word of God, and I like to talk about success, and that's it. But there's two salesmen. Two salesmen go to a far country, and they go to a foreign country, and there are two shoe salesmen. And as they bring their shoes, and they're going to scope out the land and report back to their boss about what kind of opportunities are in the land, first salesman says, "This is great. There are no people, or no. First salesman says, there's no opportunity here. Nobody's wearing shoes. Nobody has shoes on. And nobody knows what shoes are, and so there's no opportunity here. People don't wear shoes. It's just, this is not the demographic for us." And then the next salesman says, "This is great. There's a huge opportunity here. Can you believe it? There's nobody who's wearing shoes. Everybody will be in the market for us to be able to sell shoes to." And it's such an important lesson on perspective. One man saw obstacles, said, "There's no opportunity here because nobody does this." And the other man saw opportunity, said, "This is a great opportunity we have because nobody else is doing this." And, it's just a great reminder to let us know that our attitude is very important, and really how we view things. And one man sees obstacles, another man sees opportunities. What's your response? It's the name, and hey Destiny, hey, there's a man named Blake McCoskey, who is the founder and the starter of Tom's, the shoe company. And he actually said that he got the idea to start Tom's from a 2006 vacation that he took in Argentina, and he saw all the kids without shoes, with cuts and bruises and things on their feet, and he thought, wouldn't it be a cool business idea to be able to, for every shoe that he sells, be able to give a pair of shoes to these kids. And I think we all know how that took off, and now he has a worldwide business selling shoes and then giving another pair of shoes because the ones that they sold to some of the kids, and they've given well over 1 million pair of shoes, maybe a couple million now. And it's a great business model, but he saw an opportunity. He saw an opportunity and didn't say, "Oh, this is terrible. Look at these kids. How could they let these kids be like this?" He said, "No, this is an opportunity. I feel like I can help change this." And I'm telling you that there's things in your life that you can help change, that God has allowed to be in your life, because you are the catalyst of change. It's your decision, it's your attitude that allows you to see that I'm the catalyst to change. I can change things around me. So I believe that you can change things around you, and it takes you shifting your attitude to do so. So the next time you want to complain, find a couple things to be grateful for. They say that gratefulness is the enemy of complaining. And so as you continue to be grateful, you'll find the good in things, the positive in things. As you think on those things that are good, pure, lovely, noble, and of good report, you'll find that it's easier and easier to think on those positive things. It might take a little work, but it's worth it. So, and I believe that positive thinking and positive attitude, good attitude, helps you become better. And so don't think of obstacles as just obstacles. Think of them as opportunities. And remember that your attitude determines your altitude and your perspective on life. So it'll help you go higher and higher and higher. And we want you to go high. And so if this has encouraged you, I want you to share it with somebody else. And I appreciate all the love, all the hearts. Thank you, Destiny. I appreciate that. And I thank you guys for tuning in, listening in. Hopefully this was an encouragement to you. If you are new to the scope, please make sure to follow so you don't miss any of the scopes. Go in my link on my profile. You can go to the link and you can listen to me talk more about being thankful and having a good attitude. And as I do a teaching there that I did, I believe, last year. And so I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the offering of hearts once again. And I pray that this is an encouragement to someone else. Thank you so much for logging on to the replay. So, and if you're a young person, make sure to come to youth service tonight. As the youth pastor of Go Hard for Christ Youth Ministry, we have youth service every night, 6:45. And so, until we meet again, have a great day, make it a great week, and remember, having a positive attitude and a good attitude helps you become better.